when you walk in a room, those 1 to 3 seconds matter.
I've turned down work because the values were too different for me.
He kept talking about scuba diving, and I thought he was trying to hit on me.
Rascals, you're going to love today's episode. I have Shauna Smith from Marketing Muse 360, and we're going to break down the importance of personal branding, but not like the cheesy stuff that doesn't make you money. We're going to talk about how to speed up the sales cycle, to convert leads faster, and enjoy more profit in your business by investing in becoming your true self and representing that perfectly online, websites, social medias, events. And we're also going to break down how this is reversing the trust recession for your business. So if you are a CEO, founder, or revenue leader looking to stand out in a crowded marketplace, this one is for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revenue Rascals. I am so excited today because we are going to sit down and have a great conversation with my new friend, Shauna Smith. And what we're going to talk about is increasing sales velocity, profit, and revenue. And one thing that Shauna is going to dig in deep with today with all of us is how personal branding can remove you as a commodity in the marketplace and make you highly desirable so you can get those results. And I am living proof that this strategy works. So I cannot wait to dive in. Hey, Shauna, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Love your energy. I feel like this is going to be like having a cup of coffee with like someone amazing. So I'm excited.
Great. Yes, we will. It is going to feel like a cup of coffee, maybe a cocktail, depends what we talk about.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Shauna, tell us a little bit about your business and how you got where you are today so we have some context before we jump in.
Sure. I have a marketing and branding agency, and I am also a consultant. And when you do marketing and branding, it's so vast. There's so many things, but I really focus on, along with my team and some great partners in business, is the personal brand. And so we are working with women who are mostly women, but we have men too, who have like reached that brilliant part of their life where they know who they know they are, they get results, and they are ready to like really tell the world about it. And so we capture that with visuals, messaging, all the tech things, the website. And then we have great friends who also take that out even further, because once you brand now, there's so many things that have to happen. And I got into that because I feel like I've always been a brander, because I was that kid in elementary school who I could have been popular, even middle school and high school, but I chose to be around people who forgot about how cool they were. And like the popular kids wanted to play with me, but I didn't want to play with them or hang out with them because I really like quiet brilliance. I always have. And I always reminded them, like, don't forget who you are. We don't have to be like them. We could just be us and be quirky and cool, and that's just fine. And I grew up to be that same. I'm that same person, except I do it now as a profession. And I really came to know this was for me because I opened up a real estate business for 4 years. And next thing you know, I was branded. I'm like, what happened? And I realized I saw a formula. And you know what happens when you have a formula, and now it becomes a framework, and now you do it for everybody else. And here we are today.
Oh my gosh, I love this. So there's a few things that you said that I want to double tap on. So first of all is quiet brilliance. So I have 2 kids, 9 and 13. So Owen 13, Abby's 9. I feel like I am living a social experiment as a parent because they could not be more different. And Owen, he's so funny. Like when he's in middle school. So I'm like, when he comes home, I'm like, oh, what happened today? And he's like, I just collected some more drama. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, oh, Mom, I'm not going to participate in the drama. So I call myself as a collector. I just want to know that it's happening, but I don't want to participate in it. And I just like to stay kind of on the sidelines with it and keep cool with my friends. So when you brought up that quiet brilliance, I can absolutely see my son locking in on that and really relating to it. And I feel like it is so powerful and profound. And I love that. But I'm curious, how do you...
I would hang out with. He would probably be one of my friends. Okay, just let him know that.
I'll be like, there's other people out there. And the other thing that I want to talk about that you had mentioned in your intro is real estate. And, when we had been going back and forth, you talked a lot about how you've helped a lot of people in the real estate and industry, which makes total sense that that's where you came from. But I think that some people might overlook this. If you think about a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a lender, title, because I actually sold title, so I know this, title insurance, all these things. At the end of the day, it's seriously a commodity without the human involved. And if you want to set yourself apart, especially if you're selling something that's commodity driven, oh my gosh, personal branding is so incredibly important. And I'd love to just get your thoughts on that for a little bit, because it's like we're all now in this rat race for standing out in crowded marketplaces. There's commodity sales. I mean, it gets like wild, wild west out there.
It is. And it's so funny. I felt like not chills, but certainty land in my body when you ask this question, because I'm so passionate about it. And it's like, we know the answer to this. This is like what we live and breathe. We being me, myself, and I. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I do that. When I say we, that's what I'm talking about. So when I was in real estate, I owned a brokerage with 5 partners, and we started during the crash, 2007, 2008. We had no clue. Like, I knew it was happening, but I was like, okay, I'm doing what I do. And it's so interesting that people like base the economy, and I know we kind of do in a way, but if you're doing what you do, it's weird how it just unfolds for you to work in your genius. It just does. And you hear this all the time by like the gurus, motivational people who say, yeah, what may be happening out on the outside of you, you shouldn't look at that as something to affect what you're trying to do, because it just unfolds weirdly. But my feeling on personal branding for a realtor specifically, it starts with them because it's like signing a record deal. Okay. When you become a realtor, everybody can do a contract. They can do the key. They can do all the things. 100 people can show you the same house. We all know that. But what makes you the superstar of that buyer's life or that listing person's life? Like, what is it about you that they're like, I want you to help me with this large transaction and help me go through this emotional thing? Because it's not just money. When I was in real estate, there were so many tears and so many counseling sessions, so many fights I had to break up. It was crazy. So you have to know, if you're going to be in this realm, how are you going to position yourself as a problem solver, project manager, counselor, friend, a babysitter? Like, you have to be all these people. And so a lot of, like, one example is like the luxury market. Now, if you're going to go in the luxury market, women are checking you out more than the men. They want to know, what style do you have? Because that's going to attract the person. Because as they say, a baddie, or the women who are really like beautiful, makeup, hair, the body parts have been augmented to be perfect and they look amazing, they're going to feel comfortable with another woman who has that as a belief system. They just are. Even the man may have the money, or they may be as a team. But I have seen those type of realtors completely blow up their business because they took so much time into their look. It is unreal. And even those who are casual, like, you have to know who your audience is, and then actually don't change for your audience. Be the audience, because the audience should be somebody you like. Like, it's not just, I want to work with luxury people because I want to sell $1 million house. No, because are you going to talk about stocks and things that they may want to talk about? No. Let's talk about people we want to hang around with. Let's find people that are like cool. Because when you feel like they're cool, they feel like you're cool. I think it's a little bit easier. I think we can be ourselves. And I think people forget that we're just people, right? And we're doing all these extra things to just like be who, like me. I do want to be a fashionista. Like, we're talking about being a talk show host. My dream is to be a fashionista. I want to shut the room down. When I walk in, I want to be like, hey, what is she wearing? I have never felt comfortable enough with myself to be that woman until now. You see, but that's truly who I want to be, not for anybody else, but for me. And I admire women who do that. So that's my audience. Like, when I see women like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be best friends today. right? So that is the same with real estate. And also with mortgage people, they have to be the stars to the realtors.
Yeah, very, very
So it's
true.
like a trickle down effect. The title people, they throw parties, they sponsor. You got to be cool too. So, like, listen, it's a whole cool factor. But the great thing about it is you can be whatever you want. And it's best to be yourself because you will attract the people who are similar to you. I don't know if I answered that, but I felt I was in my zone and I was remembering all the parties, all the friendships. I sat on every board in Atlanta. So I really saw the psychology of who was winning and who was not.
Yes. I mean, I think there's a couple of things we can extract from that I think are really valuable to go back to. So the first thing is be you to attract others that are like you that you're going to want to work with, right? And that applies to service businesses, coaches, consultants, realtors, anywhere where that personal relationship is so important. So for me, when we bought our house up here in Park City, Utah, when we had just moved here, I wanted a woman that I felt was very similar to me in order to help me find the house, and not just by looks, but like, what do you like to do? Like, I'm a huge outdoors woman. So I'm like, I want to be able to walk out my backyard and hike till I go to Wyoming if I want to, right? And I want to ride my horses and I want to be outdoors in beautiful sun. Yes. So all of these things. And then I have kids who are super active who never sit still. So like, what kind of community are we moving into? So like and how does the house function for teens where I want them out of my like living room, right? So there's all of these things. So you're right. I chose a realtor that I felt would relate with me on all of that. There was a couple of people who were interested in helping us, but particularly one gentleman who had no kids. And like, we did not have any of the same values in life. And I'm like, how could you help me find my home, which is the most important purchase of an individual's life, right? Or a partner's life in your relationship. So anyway, I love that. And I also think that it doesn't clearly just apply to being a realtor. Like for me, my favorite clients that I've ever worked with share my value system. And it is so important. And that is such a big part of a personal brand. And I believe that I close everybody that wants to work with me. If you want to work with me, we're going to find a way to work. It always happens. Like, the only people I lose out on are mismatches. And it's not just mismatched for skills, but it's actually based on values. I've turned down work because the values were too different for me. And I knew that it would eventually come back and bite me in the butt, and I wouldn't like it. I've had to fire a couple of clients over the years when I just realized we weren't aligned, and that's just part of life. And then I got better at screening it out, all of these things. So who you are is a mirror of who you're going to attract with these types of businesses. And I think that's actually the takeaway. So be careful what you put out, because it's going to come right back like a boomerang.
I love that you mentioned the firing of the client, and because, it's not like a mean thing. It's like it's just not working. It's like a bad relationship, right? I'm saying something, you don't hear me because if your values aren't aligned, it's almost like you're speaking a foreign language. And you're saying one thing, they're hearing another, and it just keeps spiraling. And I have had that happen so many times, like you, that I'm really, really particular about who I want to go around the mulberry bush with, because branding is very intimate. Because the things start to become revealed when you are with someone like me. Because my gift is I believe I have this mirror built in me that when people are with me, they see the really great side of themselves. Now, then they get scared. Like, oh, snap, I wasn't ready for that. Now what do we do? And so then I have to like help them get into the light. Like, it's a process of, now that you see how great you are you ready to be that? Right. I was just talking to someone about the act of receiving. Especially women, we take care of everybody, we take care of our family. But when it's our turn to get something, we're like, "You're good, I have it. It's okay." Or someone says, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful." No, it's just a little something I did to. We never say just thank you. It's like, no, women specifically, brilliant, smart women who have done amazing things. They have the hardest time just like being in the brilliance.
Yes, and I'm one of them. It took me years to be okay with receiving. Like the second somebody was going to give me a compliment or help me with something or whatever, I was like running the other direction. Like, oh my God, I was like allergic to receiving. And it wasn't until I worked with a coach years ago that was like, you're horrible at receiving. I was like, what are you talking about? And she told me, and it was awareness was really all I needed. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And so now I'm super intentional about it, not just professionally, but as an individual as well. And I'm going to give you an example that has nothing to do with business, but is so important. So at 5:30 in the morning, I go to the gym. And I lift very heavy weights, and I'm on the weight floor with mostly men. And there's a few women who venture out at 5:30 in the morning for this, right? And there's these benches that are so heavy to pull around, and the wheels aren't in fantastic condition. And so the other day, I was trying to move one. I had like injured my hand from a horse accident. So it was kind of a little bit of a hot mess. And so these two guys came over really quickly, and they were like, hey, let us move that for you. And the old me would have been like, I have it. I'm fine. Like, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, thank you for noticing me. Like, yeah, I would love your help. Thank you so much. And so they moved the bench for me, right? And I just think it's really important that, and also made them feel good. I would assume it made them feel good. They did something nice for somebody who is frankly distressed. So it was a great mixture of it all. But I see women all the time turning down simple help like that, or turning down opening the door, like all of these things. And so if we can just say thank you, or we can say, I accept your help, it makes such a big difference in our lives, not just for us, but for the people who want to give as well.
Absolutely. It is the biggest life hack that we don't even know is in front of us. And it took me like 12 years of people projecting and fighting, and like they're fighting themselves. But of course, we're the frontliners. Me and the team, we're like, why did they have a meltdown about an R? Like we could have just moved the R over, but why are we fighting? And it's really like this internal, like, you're making me do something I don't want to do. I don't really want to do it, but I do, but I don't know how. And so now it's like, this is why I changed my messaging this year, because I changed my messaging from invisible to iconic. So if the word iconic doesn't scare you, please step forward. If it does, please take 2 steps back. And it's okay. I'm not your girl. Because if you come with me, some stuff is going down. So it's also messaging for me too. Like I probably didn't do a good job with messaging about what could happen. I'm a very fast-paced person. I know a lot of people, and I'm really sure about what I do. So, you got to be able to roll with me. And you look up like in a week and you're like, what do you mean I'm speaking? I just hired you. Like, why do we have to do that? I'm like, see,
you got to go do it.
Got to do it. And so it's branding it can pay off big time, but like you said, you want to know who you want to hang out with. So when you do enter those unfamiliar spaces, at least they're people that you like to be around. You know what I mean?
100%. I remember when I did the brand shoot for my podcast, and everyone's like, why aren't you just generating the image via AI and all this other stuff? Why are you going and spending all this money on this brand photography session? I was like, because I'm iconic. And iconic people don't use AI for their podcast. I was like, this podcast can be around forever. It's going to change lives, businesses. Like, I'm not putting AI art on my cover. And for everyone who hasn't seen it, please go see it. I don't know how you haven't seen it because I plastered it all over the place, but I'm shooting a money gun in like a really cute outfit with Revenue Rascal. Like it's so fun. It took me 3 hours to get that shot between the heat and the money gun and how it was like not shooting right, my smiling, my hair. It was this whole thing. And it was worth every moment of sweat and crying and hair not participating for me to get that shot. Because for me, it meant the show had the opportunity to become iconic and live even beyond myself. So that was so powerful. And one thing I want to bring our conversation to in personal branding is what I call the trust recession right now. Nobody trusts anybody because nobody knows if they're looking at AI. Nobody knows if you wrote it, if you reached out. Nobody knows. And you can now create video avatars. We don't even know if it's that. Now, when I do interviews like this, I think it would be extremely difficult to, do that using an AI person or persona or whatever. So for me, I'm standing up here saying, fine, I'm going to go on YouTube, even though I would prefer not to get dressed every single time that I have to do an interview, but I am because I want to be on YouTube because I want people to know I'm real and the people that I bring on the show are real. And that is part of the iconic brand that I'm building. So could you talk with us a little bit about what you're seeing in the trust recession, meaning that brands are having to do a lot more to be trusted in order to sell and to grow, and how you're combating that with personal branding?
Great question. And I have become a podcast junkie the last 6 months for reasons for this. And I didn't even realize I was doing it because of the trust thing. And so I think we got to go back to old school, right? When trust factors become an issue, like, okay, this picture doesn't look real. I use AI for my pictures because I haven't done my brand photography, but as soon as I get my new one, I will do it, switch it over because I believe that the pictures do need to be real, your main picture. So to your point, great job on understanding the importance of 3 hours to get the shot. It's worth so much more than people can even ever understand. They would never grasp it, but you got it. So I think this is why podcasts are on the rise. It's so funny how these things are intersecting right now. The trust recession, nobody believes anybody. Like, people, I'm looking at Instagram, I'm studying like what's happening. And you're like, there's an AI character that has a whole profile. Like their whole thing is just not even a real person. And I'm looking at the comments and people really think this is a person. And I'm like, okay, guys, don't fall in love with this lady. She's not real. And people are talking and all this. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And so when it comes to following for, I guess you would say, education, entertainment, edutainment, more people are doing podcasts. They are coming up left and right. And I don't even think we've hit that tipping point of podcasts. I think it's going to get even bigger. It's going to be even more creative on how they do that. And books are also going to be another thing. Now, the thing with books are you can write a book with AI.
Sure can, but you can't copyright it.
You can't copy. Yes, you can't. That's a good point. You can't.
Yeah. You also, if you run paid ads now in the state of New York, which it's going to be hard to control this, and you're using any AI images that look like a human, you have to disclose it in the ad, not just the landing page. So now that New York's requiring it, unless advertisers are going to just skip New York, which is impossible, they're all going to have to now abide by this. And I think it's really ethical. And I'm happy it's happening because too many people can, like if I was fake right now and I told you to go jump off a cliff, whatever it can be, it's so super dangerous that you have to disclose it. And, back to your comment on the Instagram stuff, the AI personas, maybe you've come across this woman, but she's like, how to be great in your 50s or something. And she's an AI, like it's really clear that she's fake. And she's telling you can look like me. And she's AI. And I'm like, how do people not know this? And it's comment after comment. If I want to be like you, I'm like, how do you guys not know this? And this is so unethical. And I couldn't even believe it.
It's that, I really think the key is going to be video. And then you still have to be careful with video because video is getting so good.
Oh, that's all she does is videos. That's all she does is videos.
It's a turn off. It's turn off.
Crazy. So, it's wild. It's the wild, wild west, like I said, out there right now. And we just have to be really careful about creating authentic, iconic brands that are real. So with that being said, could you help us understand your framework? Because when you're like, I want to come on the show, I'm like, I can't wait. And you're like, I'm going to share my framework. And I'm like, yeah, girl, let's do it. So can you dive in a little bit about what it looks like using your framework to become that iconic brand?
So it is 3 or 4 parts, depending on what people would want. In the beginning, the first part of that framework is audience. And I have something that I call the coffee shop challenge. It's actually in my book that I never tell anybody about because I'm not quite there yet, but it's okay. I said it. It's already done if you want to buy it. Okay.
What is the book called? I'm going to make you talk about it. What's the book called?
7 Secrets to Build a Personal Brand.
7 secrets to build a personal brand. Does everyone hear that?
She got me. That's good though. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it's called the coffee shop challenge for the audience, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's your avatar. We get all, technical. And my thing is like, let's imagine you're in a coffee shop with 100 people. It's crowded. You're in your favorite place. You're cool. You're ready to go. And you sit down at a table and there's 3 empty seats. Who is most likely to sit there? Because whoever sits there, it's like a magnet. Humans are magnetic. The people who sit down is like, oh my God, I can't believe you sat here. You're the perfect person I want to talk to today. Who are those people that constantly sit with you or constantly talk to you at random parties? You're always in the corner with the same type of people, because those people change as you change, right? And so it's really important for you to know who those people are, because it goes back to our point that we were talking about earlier. We're talking about having coffee. We're talking about being casual. Who are you enjoying this conversation with versus who's making the most money, right? Because that's the first place they want to go. Well, I want to go where 7-figure companies that have 300 employees in. Okay, now is that really who you want to sit with? CEO of that? Now I do get it as a corporate, going to corporates, yes. But as a personal brand, who is it going to sit at the coffee table?
Are you asking me? Because I know the answer to that. Do you want to ask me that?
I would love to know.
That would be fun to play this game. Okay, so if I was to go into a coffee shop and sit down, the people who always find me are the ones that want more, deserve more, and refuse to settle for the status quo. Those people find me wherever I go, and I absolutely love it. And they make me so happy, and we have the best conversations, the best relationships. We focus on the right things. And this goes from friends and professional relationships. So that same avatar is attracted to me from both angles of my life, and without me even saying a word.
Well, I can see, the fact that you mentioned that you get up and go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, that is a person who is focused on making sure they're their best self. And so when someone sees a person who also works out, I can see how that would be in alignment. And that's a person who's going for more, right? That makes perfect sense. And so thank you for sharing that, because see, you talk through, it's usually business and personal, but people don't realize that. Like if I go to a park and I sit at a bench, a woman who's most likely going to sit next to me is a woman between 40 and 60 who has done amazing things in her. All my friends are attorneys and doctors. I'm like, guys, why are y'all all friends with me? I'm not an attorney or a doctor, but it's because they are very dedicated to what they do. They're somewhat quirky, right? They're super smart, but also like they want to go outside and hang out. When you said horses, I was like, let's do that. Or let's just go take a walk on a trail and just be random. So I like those kind of ladies. Like they're adventurous, but the adventures don't have to be crazy. They're just, let's take action on ideas, not just think about it, right? So I say that is the first thing we have to decide on, because some people think they help the entire world. And I'm like, you don't. After we do that, we start looking at words, style, flow, where do you want to hang out? Because style goes with where you're going to hang out, where you're going to find your clients naturally, where you're going to speak, what organizations you're going to go to. It does move over to corporate, but I try to keep it very personal, because we're talking about a personal brand. And from there, now we start looking at, how do you want to show up in the world? What do you want when you walk in a room? Those 1 to 3 seconds matter.
Oh, 100%.
People who are doing big people doing big things in the world, they're watching and scanning, looking for people they can be with or put on speakers. They're looking for people to hire. Like millionaires who go to events, they need stuff done.
They do.
And so they're looking for people like, look at how she came in the room. I need to talk to her because I need somebody to run this team. This is happening all the time. And so people miss the mark when they go to an event and they don't have a personal style. The personal style could be sneakers, t-shirt, jeans, and purple hair. I don't care. But if that's who you are, that's who you are.
You are giving me so much good stuff to go off right now. I am like so excited over this. I'm gonna put a pin in it because you want to hear this. Okay. So I have this dear friend who is the chief people officer of a huge public company. Okay. And she's amazing. She wears different color wigs every day. She will have lace coming out of her top. She will dress whatever way she wants. She walks into a room and you're like, who is this? But in the most amazing way ever, because she's her authentic self. She loved acting and performance, and her daughter did too. So she just comes in at however like she feels for the day. And I find it so amazing. And I will tell you, she broke into an all boys C-suite that way. And this is an important thing to bring up because I do it in my business too. You don't have to look like a white old guy in order to get into the C-suite. Like they actually are starving for different perspectives, opinions, styles, and strategies. And similarly to my dear friend, I also don't play that game. Like I get huge six-figure corporate contracts and I show up in a flower free people romper that is styled to the T, crisply ironed. And literally, when I go to events like that, everyone's like, that girl in the floral jumper. Oh, the one with the great style. Oh, that one over there that you can't miss. And I do it intentionally. So because I know that it does exactly what you just said. And I love it so much.
It is the most underestimated power move you can make, being you. And the cost is you get to be you. And people are like, no, but I want to wear a great suit. I'll always wear patent leather shoes with a great suit. Okay, well, go ahead and you become a sheep. Nobody saw you. And you could have saved the world yesterday. Okay, we did not see you, ma'am. And it's so funny. I spoke with my makeup artist slash like she's helps me with the style for the shoot. And she was just feeding me life today about the whole style. And, like it's amazing to be able to have this thought process, but to have other people in your circle that you can talk about it, elevate it. And, I'm obsessed with style right now because, my dream is to be a fashionista one day. So now I'm like, I'm finally ready for her. I'm finally ready because I've often felt like I'm the student that the kids hate because I also know all the answers and I don't mean to. I'm just excited. Okay. I'm overly excited. That's all. But people are like, oh, here she comes with my energy is big and I'm happy. And sometimes people who are happy, smart, and just confident and just yourself. It's not that you're trying to be better than anybody. People who are not going to sometimes like you. And you have to be okay with that. That's part of being you. People are not happy that they didn't do it. And so I always like to give that PSA or disclosure of when you're beginning to do a personal brand, here's the people you want to ignore. It's going to happen. And that means nothing for you. And you didn't do anything wrong. But a lot of times they start to do it and then they get a call from their friend or a call from someone's. I saw you wore those red patent leather shoes. Who told you should do that? Because I told you last week, you shouldn't do that because, people are, now you're getting fed and now you're backing away and now you're going to cower down to a thing. So it's important to be around people who celebrate you and who are like, girl, that was amazing. Let's go. Let's do the all plaid with the purple shoes. It's time to dye your hair pink. If you want it, I'm here with you. You need those women in your circle because I'll tell you, for me, I have a little sister. Hopefully she didn't see this podcast, but it's okay. And she's just always in competition with me for the smallest things. I'm like, can you just be nice to me? I'm not trying to do anything. I told her about my Google business page I was working on. Oh, so you have a Google business page. Everybody has a Google business. So what are you mad at me about? So, I just love to also let people know because people are often hiding because they're afraid of what people think. And so that prevents the signature style and signature hair. Because when you get your signature hairstyle, your signature look, people are going to look at you.
Yeah, they are.
Now, if you're not used to receiving, you're going to be like, why is everybody staring at me? Because you look amazing. Okay, but why are they staring at me? Because you look amazing. You see, so there's a dynamic that happens that this is why the coach is important. I feel like it's almost a requirement. I wish I could say you need a coach before you come work with me, because there are trauma and things that happen in our past that keep us from leveling up that you need as you start coming to your true self. It's a process. We both talked about this, right? Like, I was on stage and everybody was like talking about how great I was, and I was like burning up inside of my body. I was like, I'm super uncomfortable, but I know I'm supposed to stay in a reception mode and be happy that they're talking about me, but I was so uncomfortable.
And you have to deal with the people that are going to be haters. Like I'm like an ironclad superwoman at this point. Like it just bounces off and hits them back in the face. I'll give you a great example on YouTube. Some anonymous guy, it was not the best angle of my forehead. I do have a very large forehead. I'm not trying to deny this, but it was just it was a particularly bad angle that I maybe should have edited, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I put it on because it's scheduled to go and I don't care, whatever, it's my forehead. And the first comment was, you could land a 747 on that forehead. And I'm like, well, I have two choices at this point. I can delete it. I can go eat myself of tears and cookies and cry, or I can be who I am, which is smarter than this guy, and make a quirky reply. So I hit reply and I said, perfect landing. And that was it.
Okay.
Yep. So, yes, sir, you can land it on my head and it's going to land perfectly. And thank you for your day. So, anywho, that's a really important lesson for us all to learn. And it's important to stay in the right rooms that grow with us so that we do find the support that we need. Because with a strong personal brand, just like if you're the CEO or founder of a company, it can be very isolating. You can feel very alone, right? So you have to find your people and keep them up. Okay, so we went through 2 of the 3 or 4, right?
2. Yes, 2 of the 4.
Wait, let's recap here.
Awareness, then messaging, signature style, and signature look. And then we have the next one is now building it all out to build this is like, there's 100 steps in this step, but the build of the new audience and the new look. And that look is not just physical, it's the look of your hair, clothes, platform, all those things. And then the next phase is building out, making sure your website speaks the language that we just built. Make sure your social media headers speak the language. Make sure all your profiles and things like that. Now, the last part of my framework is the relationship piece. And that is belonging to the right organization and being a giver. Really, the secret sauce at the end of the day, which I learned from my mentor when I first got into business, is being the absolute biggest giver you can even think about giving. Because people get into business, I need the leads, I need the business, I need it, send me the leads. And they forget that it's like you came in the door with a purse open and say, put stuff in here. Like, that's not how it works. I built my brand on being and not thinking, because I'm a service-based person, like that's just who I am. I just was so excited to introduce people. I introduced everybody to everybody. I like major deals happen because of some of the things. I was like, you gotta meet this guy. Oh my God, he's great. As I mentioned, I sat on all the real estate boards. Not because I wanted to be popular, because I wanted to learn and I wanted to hang out with people like me who are like overachievers, wanted to get things done. So after we build everything out, we have you got your audience, your signature look, style, flow. We build out your brand. Now we go to market, and go to market is in the spirit of giving. And so I teach my clients that when you go, always be giving. Join organizations. If you join it, immediately volunteer. If you like it, and you can. Once you volunteer, start being the connector, because people will remember you it could be something like, oh my God, I need my car fixed. I know a great guy. Be that person. Because if you think about it, that's old school. That's what the old school guys did, right? They meet me at the coffee shop on 5th and 10th, and that's your coffee shop, right? I also say, do that. Find a restaurant that you always meet people at. My mentor, he got up at 4 a.m. He worked from 4 a.m. to 11 or 12, from 12 p.m. to 6. He was at a Dunkin' Donuts meeting people every 30 minutes, and made sure that as he was meeting those 2 people, that the 2 people intersected and introduced them every day.
Wow, that's a brutal schedule.
He's a machine. I don't suggest we do anything that he did because he was a machine. He also was on Flip This House. He was like a crazy, like, they're extremists. But that's just how he's built. Like he could just do the same thing every day. I can't do that. I try. But if we can do that on a small segment, manage if we do that 10%. That's what I did. I did about 10, 20% of what he did. And my life now, I kind of lost that habit last year. So this year I'm really back into it. And I'm like, whoa, the amount of people I could connect is overwhelming. So I have to like break my time up to do like 3 to 4 connections a day. But you will look around and you'll start to see yourself elevating in the marketplace. The leaders have favor with you. They're like, I don't know. Someone told me the other day I belong to this new women's group, and she said, Shauna, I know a lot of marketing people, a lot, but I can't think of any of them anymore. Like you have consumed my mind. And it's only because I give. I brought ladies to the group. We met for lunch. I brought her to the farm. She got eggs. Like I wanted to really get to know her. I was wanting to give because I wanted to thank her for bringing me into the group. So that's kind of my framework, kind of like very lightly said, but it's also, technically written. But yes, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. I think it makes so much sense. And sometimes, it's just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Like what you just described, could be extremely simple if people just show up and do the work. But the problem is simple isn't always easy. But I think what's refreshing for people is go back to some of the business basics, because I grew up with an entrepreneur as a grandfather, and he was amazing. He owned a screen printing company, and every day he had lunch, and it was a wet lunch with a whiskey, and he talked to somebody important, and that was what he did every single day, and all of those relationships and just the social capital that he built over time. Like I watched him do that, and I definitely think that I do a lot of what he did just naturally. And I've been doing sales for 20 something years. And so when it first started, I had to wear the heels, the nylons, the dress code, carry all the stuff up the stairs and the elevators and cold calling. So I guess for me, I'm on that cusp of an age where I am so happy that some of this traditional business stuff is coming back so much right now, because it's refreshing to know that I get to go back to like what made me even be able to begin in this world, and as a professional, as a business owner, etc. So to me, this is like a refreshing conversation. All right, rascals, let me ask you this. How much money have you wasted replacing shoes, sneakers, or even bags that could have lasted way longer if only you'd been taken better care of them? I know for me, running from meetings to kids' activities, life gets messy fast. And that's why I always have Jason Mark Quick Wipes on hand. Jason Mark is trusted care to help you get the most out of what you wear. They're not just about cleaning. They're about protecting what you love while protecting the planet. Their wipes are now 100% plant-based and plastic-free, made from renewable lyocell fibers. They're individually wrapped so you can toss them in your bag, your car, or like me, your kids' backpacks. And it's not just convenience. Jason Mark is part of the worldwide B Corp movement, meeting the highest standards for social and environmental impact. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, so you know the formulas are safe for your family. And their products are USDA, bio-based, and certified biodegradable. That means no harmful junk like PFAS or VOCs. Just high-performance care that keeps your stuff looking fresh while doing right by the planet. Personally, as a busy mom and entrepreneur, Quick Wipes are my favorite. They've saved my sneakers from coffee spills, playground dust, you name it. One wipe and I'm ready to walk into my next meeting looking sharp. So here's the deal. Go to jasonmark.com and use promo code Revenue Rascals at checkout for 25% off your order. One time per customer. Again, that's jasonmark.com, code Revenue Rascals. And remember, this podcast is free thanks to sponsors like Jason Mark. I'm ungating sales strategies people pay me 6 figures for. So go support them, grab your Quick Wipes or your favorite product, and keep your kicks looking fresh. One thing I have is, you have your branding planner. I want to make sure that we talk about, and this helps everyone organize what's important and create a brand that speaks to their audience and helps them understand social media. And it's completely free. So everyone, it is in the show links so that you can go and grab Shauna's branding planner, which is going to be really exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's in there?
Yeah. So we've talked about, me and Michelle talked about a lot of things, and there are like some little nuances in between. We've done a lot of life, a lot of business life, and we know these little nuances. But there are things like competitive analysis, which platform you're going to be on and why. And then let's just start over. Let's just lay it out. And so this planner allows you to grab a cup of tea on a Sunday, which I prefer because there's no emails, nobody's calling you. You can really sit down and give yourself 4 hours to and you can do it in segments, but I like just do a deep dive, get it done and print it out and write out the things. Because by the end, it kind of comes together for you like, oh, this is my audience. Oh, this is my offer. This is why I should charge this. This is the platform I should be on. This is how I can get business. Oh, now I know why it all ties together. So I kind of made it very simple, but it is a lot of things to think about in a good way with no pressure. You can do it on your own time, but these are the critical things you want to think about if you're going to build a brand that when you walk in a room, people see you.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Okay, I want to spend a few minutes talking about how personal brands help you with what exactly I talked about in the beginning, right? More sales, speedier sales, which is velocity, more profit, and you get to be a little bit picky of who you get to work with. And I think these are all really important things. And for everybody listening right now, I always say that I have influence. I'm not an influencer. So what that means is that I have about 20,000 people in my world, my community, between my socials, my list, all of the things, the reach of the podcast, all of the stuff. And I guess for somebody who's doesn't own a personal brand, might think that's super impressive, but it's actually just middle, if that, right? In terms of reach, in terms of everybody else who's activated personal brands or huge digital presence and stuff. But for me, it is the perfect amount. I keep growing and growing, which is great, but it's I have this beautiful, highly profitable business where sales calls are super easy. People come to me. I don't have to worry about finding clients. The ecosystem's working, architecture's working. And I strongly believe and know to my soul that if I had not worked so freaking hard on my personal brand, that all of this would have been so much harder or impossible to achieve. So I would love to hear your perspective on that, because that's what the show's about, right? The show's about how can we achieve what we want financially and also the structure of our business in really easy, non-traditional ways. So
I love the size of your brand. And I think that you're just such an easy person to talk with. And I love the words that you use when you talk. And so it's I can see how people want to work with you because there's brilliance, but also approachability, and which is important. You don't have, super smart people sometimes use big words, and that doesn't make people feel like they can walk into your world and I have a problem. Can you help me? Because they don't feel like they're smart enough to even talk to you. Right. So I really want to say I've enjoyed spending time with you today. My brain is on alert and listening and learning at the same time. And my next frontier to really surround myself with right now in life is salespeople, because that's a whole nother universe. But you really have to have that universe. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you guys. So you really need to listen to the podcast, because that's the piece. The branding will do a few things for you. Remember, we talked about signature style. So when you have a personal brand and a signature style, sometimes you can walk into a room and even though it's someone else's event, they feel like you were the star.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just be sitting down at a table and you could sit next to a political leader who says, hey, we're doing an event this weekend. I love what you said to me. It was so clear. And I mean, just your confidence was amazing. Would you mind speaking? Money made, done.
Mm-hmm.
I just gave advice to a gentleman. One of my clients' husband called me because he wants to do a coaching group. He wants to sell for 5,000. And he was like, what should I do? So one, he already had a brand. He already has his style and he has his confidence set up, because when you do develop a brand, I feel like I want to use the word alignment, which is one of the biggest words or the most commonly used words right now in 2025, 26. But in this moment, I really want to use it because when you do a photo shoot and those pictures come back after going through all, like, what is your style going to be? What do you want to be? What do you want people to feel when you walk in the room or when you show up on the pictures? Because we're going to talk about how you want people to feel when they experience you or your services or your team or your company. When you see that visually, it's like you come into yourself. It's like there's you and there's your brand, and then they come together, and then you come together. And so there is this feeling that it's hard to explain, but inside of your body, I would just call it confidence, right? I know who I am. I'm not here to chase anybody. I'm not here to chase your dollars or sell you. I'm here to give value. And when you have this kind of magnetic thing, because you know who you are, you've done the pictures, you've done everything, it's magnetic, but also your messaging will attract the right people. Who literally show up in your DMs.
Yes, they do.
Friends won't they? Have you had the DM show up?
Oh, all
friends
the time.
You've known for years, that once they see you do your brand, your friends who are in corporate or wherever they work, they can work anywhere. They will say, I have seen your stuff lately and I love it. You know what? Don't you do marketing? I have a contract that I need done. Happened to me 3 years ago. Somebody I knew for 10 years. That's right. You're a marketing consultant. I'm like, you've known that for 10 years. What are you talking about? But she needed a reminder. Because guess what, guys? There's so many things coming in our head. So what are you putting out on a regular basis to remind people about your brand? Your looks need to pop out of the social media, and then your words need to pop out. And then you just remind your friends that are like, oh my God, I need a marketing consultant today. Shauna, that's right. I just saw her stuff come by. And then the last piece I want to say about sales and conversion, which is a hot word in the word of sales. How long does it take you to convert the sale from interest to closing? If your brand is strong, they're going to go research you. So by the time they see you, they're like, girl, I already saw everything. I already saw what you do. I love your grandkids. I love what you've done. I saw the picture with you and your horse. I'm sold. I absolutely love your content and I love what you're doing in the world. Tell me a little bit about the product. And then by the time you look up, they're like, you know what? Where do we sign? Happens to me all the time.
Yep.
So it's an awareness. It cuts on conversion, and it attracts the right people you wanted to work with in the beginning. So it does increase your profits, and it does increase your sales. I am a testament to it. And Michelle, I'm sure you have hundreds of stories of how it works. People just call you out of the blue, like, I was thinking about you, thinking maybe we should do this.
Yeah. I mean, and to speak specifically to profits, on average, if somebody is selling, let's say, a $10,000 service, program, mastermind, like anything, 10K. Okay. And they're using a paid media acquisition strategy and not really focusing on organic personal branding. That person will pay $2,000 at least to sell into that $10,000 program, service, or mastermind, at least. And that is very conservative between the cost to acquire, to book the call for a sales rep, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we don't have to play that game. You can play that game a little bit, but when you have a strong personal brand and a great reputation and you just leave your house and go to the right events, then you actually don't have to spend really any money, maybe like $100 for your ticket for the event to get said $10,000 client. So that's how we're specifically speaking to increasing profitability, is when you don't have to depend on very expensive acquisition models. Now, does it work for every business? Personal branding works for every business. I think even if you're product driven, the CEO founder, like if you have like a supplement company. I actually think the personal brand is equally important, not even that you're selling services, but people are going to want to identify and trust the brand through the founder CEO up into a certain point. And that is really, really important. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show. I think it's an important conversation to talk about. And I'm so grateful you were here. And I have one last question for you. What is the most rascal thing you've ever done in business?
The most rascal thing I've done that I could have took more advantage of, but I didn't because I was so enamored with the moment, was I had a virtual assistant whose dad invited me to the Philippines to go on a nationwide tour to find the next entrepreneur. And at the end of the tour, I was sitting in a conference room with all the investors for this island or this village he was building. I was just in another zone. I was so happy. I couldn't come out of the clouds. I couldn't see anything. And this Texan was in this room. I was like, a Texan, imagine, Texan, big mustache, everything. And the whole time we were talking, and he was doing this thing on the board and talking about the investment. And he kept talking about scuba diving. And I thought he was trying to hit on me, right? He just, again, I have this free, open spirit that people are like, I want to talk to you. And I'm thinking, why is this guy trying to talk to me during this investment? And he kept, when you come back, we're going to go scuba dive. I'm not talking to this guy anymore. And at the end, he came up to me. He was like, he handed me his card, and he was head of American Philippine business. And he invited me to his office, picked me up, and said, what would you like to do in the Philippines? You could do anything you want. And my mind was, what? I didn't do anything, guys. I was just sitting there being Shauna. Granted, I think I was the only Black woman, but there were all kind of Americans and Filipinos around the table. But he just saw me because I was just free to be myself there. I didn't try to put on anything. I just was like me, and I was so happy there. And I couldn't take advantage of it. I wish I could, and I still have the invitation. But that was the most rascally, most amazing thing I've ever done in my business. And so I plan to go back to the Philippines and do some amazing work in business and branding.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, go back to that original offer and get yourself back over there and rock and roll. Well, Shauna, did I forget to mention anything that is super important? We know where to go get your branding planner. It'll be in the show notes. We'll also have all the links to your socials as well. But did I miss anything that you want to say before we close this up?
There's one thing that I do want to say for anybody who is thinking about going from invisible to iconic. Every Friday, I do a masterclass about a 90-day blueprint to go from invisible to iconic, totally free, pop up on Zoom. I'm going to share some real life stories. Some of my friends will pop on to share what they've experienced with me. And I'm loving this. This is my disciplined effort to really spread the word every Friday. I've never done this before, and I've done it 3 times in a row, and it's been amazing. So if you're interested, you can go to my site. There'll be a link there, or we can put it in the show notes for the link, I think.
Yep, I think we have it. We have it ready to rock and roll. So it'll be in the show links too.
Awesome.
Well, Shauna, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your rascal energy. Independence isn't just about where you go. It's about how well you live when you get there. That's why I am genuinely excited about Indie Stove, because it completely changes what outdoor and off-grid cooking looks like. Indie Stove is an ultra portable, collapsible stove that fits basically anywhere, but performs like a real kitchen tool. It heats up in minutes, holds up in wind, rain, and rugged terrain, and works with multiple fuel sources, propane, butane, or wood pellets. So you're never limited by where you are and what's available. But here's where it gets fun. This isn't just about boiling water. With Indie Stove's modular accessories, you can actually cook. The Workspace Stack gives you sturdy side sleeves so your cookware, ingredients, and tools are right there when you need them most. No balancing acts, no chaos. The Skewer Stack lets you grill kebabs, vegetables, or skewered meals evenly with non-sag skewers designed for real heat control. And yes, people are baking chocolate chip cookies off the grid. Fresh cookies in the middle of nowhere. That is not survival, that's luxury. Indie Stove is built for people who want freedom without giving up quality. Real meals, real control, real independence. Whether you're camping, overlanding, prepping for emergencies, or just choosing a life that isn't tied to outlets and crowded kitchens. And because you're a Revenue Rascals listener, you get something extra. Use code Revenue Rascals at checkout and you'll receive a free Workspace Stack with your purchase of a stove, valued at $120. That's Revenue Rascals at indiestove.com. Because independence should taste incredible. Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.